Number 8. Unnamed New Jersey woman. In June of 2017, a woman was distracted by her cell phone and fell through open doors in the sidewalk on a street in Plainfield, New Jersey. As shown by surveillance footage that was widely circulated online, the unnamed 67-year-old woman was looking at her phone while walking down Somerset Street towards one of 2 basement access doors. According to the police, they'd been left open due to a gas line repair that was being performed in the area. The woman ran into the door, then fell over it nearly 6.5 feet into the basement. She was helped by workers and subsequently taken to the hospital, but her injuries were reported as non-life threatening. Her son, who also chose to remain nameless, told a media outlet that the woman was legally blind and a diabetic. He reported feeling fortunate that she hadn't been killed in the fall, while also mentioning that she'd been feeling ill and had briefly checked the time on her phone prior to plummeting through the opening. Number 7. Rianne Mayfield. A woman from Chesterfield, Virginia was left with a 2-inch gash in her forehead after she was struck by a cell phone while on a roller coaster in 2018. On June the 10th, Rianne Mayfield was riding the Twisted Timbers attraction at the King's Dominion amusement park for the first time. She suddenly saw a black object flying towards her, but couldn't identify what it was before she felt the impact of it hitting her in the head. Mayfield then felt something warm cover her face, which she quickly came to realize was blood. She could reportedly tell by the reactions of those around her that her injury was severe. Mayfield had been struck in the forehead by a cell phone which a man on the roller coaster had failed to properly secure in his pocket. The speed of the ride had turned the loose item into a dangerous projectile. The device's owner reportedly came up to Mayfield and apologized in the immediate aftermath, but she didn't get his name in the commotion, and it's unclear if he faced any legal repercussions for the incident. The woman received several stitches to her forehead and was left with a permanent scar following a painful recovery process that included weeks of headaches. A spokeswoman for the amusement park claimed that there were signs in place informing prospective riders that all loose articles must be fully secured at all times or stored. Mayfield was subsequently reimbursed for her season pass to the park, and new signs were placed in front of the Twisted Timbers stating that absolutely no cell phones were permitted on it. Number 6. Rosemary Ann Charsky. The Washington County Sheriff's Office in Oregon told a media outlet that their first shooting call of 2020 had come only minutes into the new decade at 12:06 a.m. Rosemary Ann Charsky of Bethany was subsequently taken into custody for shooting into her neighbor's bedroom. The 35-year-old woman, who was seen smiling in one of her processing photos, had reportedly accidentally discharged a handgun into her smartphone. The bullet cut clean through the device, rendering it inoperable, and then through Ann Charsky's wall before ending up in her neighbor's apartment. Fortunately, no one was hurt, as the room was empty at the time. Ann Charsky's bail was set at $1,000 after she was charged with recklessly endangering and unlawful use of a weapon. It's unclear what she'd been doing leading up to the shooting, but based on the bullet's trajectory, deputies believed she'd been holding the cell phone in a selfie-like position. The authorities also suspected intoxicants had been a factor in the incident. Number 5. Natasha Boggs. On May the 28th of 2017, an Ohio woman who was allegedly distracted while driving plowed into 3 teenagers after losing control of her car. 24-year-old Natasha Boggs, whose son was in the back seat of her 1999 Ford Escort, drifted over the fog line on South Main Street in Coventry Township. She struck the teenagers, who were reportedly walking along the stretch of the road which didn't have sidewalks. Amber Toma of Coventry Township and Taylor Galloway of Akron were both killed in a crash, while a teenage boy suffered broken bones and severe head injuries. Boggs tried to help them in the immediate aftermath. According to prosecutors, she later returned to her car and began deleting text messages off her cell phone. The case against her was largely built around the idea that she'd been texting and driving. While the evidence didn't directly confirm that accusation, it was clear that she'd sent and received texts prior to the 911 call she'd placed. Boggs denied texting behind the wheel and claimed that she'd actually been distracted by her son. While booked at the Summit County Jail, however, she told her mother that she might have fallen asleep. The woman had taken prescribed methadone earlier in the day, but investigators reported that she hadn't been under the influence. Boggs eventually pleaded guilty in March of 2018 to 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 1 count of vehicular assault, and 1 count of attempted tampering with evidence. She was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Number 4. Fire on Air Canada flight. In 2018, a passenger's phone caught fire while it was charging on an Air Canada flight from Toronto to Vancouver. The aircraft had not yet taken off from Pearson International Airport when the incident occurred. Passengers at the front saw black smoke rising from a few rows back, and before long, a number of people on the aircraft began screaming and jumping out of their seats. Talking to CTV Toronto, passenger Brandon Scott described the fire as a small campfire-sized flame. The crew was able to put it out while firefighters were called to investigate and clear the scene, ultimately delaying the flight for over 2 hours. The unnamed woman whose phone had erupted in flames suffered first-degree burns but was able to walk off the aircraft unassisted. Kathy Boot, another passenger, would report that she'd seen her attempt to stomp out the fire. The make and model of the cell phone wasn't specified, but the incident is believed to have been sparked by manufacturing defects in its lithium-ion battery. Number 3. Anjanette Marie Missette. Florida woman Anjanette Marie Missette sparked outrage in May of 2018 through her mugshot, which showed her widely grinning after she'd instigated a car crash that would ultimately result in a woman's death while driving her 2011 Chevrolet Avalon on US Highway 27 in Orlando. Missette failed to brake in time and smashed into a Hyundai Elantra. The second car was being driven by 18-year-old Cheyenne Kroll and 60-year-old Sandra Clarkson. Her mother was in the passenger seat. The powerful impact sandwiched the Elantra between the tractor-trailer in front of it and the Avalon, which had rear-ended it. Kroll walked away with minor injuries, but Clarkson was left in critical condition. She was rushed to the Orlando Regional Medical Center, where she underwent several surgeries. The woman ultimately passed away 3 days later after being rendered paralyzed and brain-dead by the collision. By her own admission, Missette had lost control of her car because she'd been distracted after dropping her cell phone. Additionally, her blood alcohol was found to have been double the legal limit. The woman's smiling mugshot went viral, and many, including Clarkson's grieving family, argued that it displayed Missette's complete lack of remorse for her actions. After the woman's charges were upgraded to manslaughter, a new mugshot was taken showing her with a grimmer expression. She ultimately apologized in court to the victim's family, pleaded no contest, and was sentenced to 11 years in prison. Today's topic was requested by Ethan Rawlins, Shortcake 4509, Mr. Roo, and Adjusted 202. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Evgenia Shulatieva. 26-year-old Russian woman Evgenia Shulatieva succumbed to a massive electric shock in September of 2019 in an accident involving a cell phone. Shulatieva's lifeless body was found by her mother Vera in the bathroom of her home in the town of Kirovo-Chepetsk. Vera had become worried after failing to reach her daughter on the phone. An investigation determined that while the young woman was taking a bath, her cell phone had fallen into the tub. It's unclear if Shulatieva had been using it at the time, but the device was connected to a charger and plugged in an outlet. As explained by Yuri Agrafonov, head of the radio electronic department of Irkutsk State University, water is a good conductor, which allowed the current to pass from the 220-volt outlet and cause a short circuit. On their own, cell phones operate on voltages that are generally considered too low to pose a danger. Shulatieva died of electrocution within minutes of the charging device making contact with the water. Her passing was another in a series of similar incidents which had recently occurred in Russia, including the death of prominent poker player Lilia Novikova and martial arts champion Irina Rybnikova. Number 1. Attack on Gu Ping Han. In late August of 2021, a New York City Uber driver suffered a severe eye injury after he'd refused an illegal street hail in Manhattan. 45-year-old Gui Ping Han, a Chinese immigrant, was stopped at a red light when an unidentified man gestured to get his attention and demanded the driver give him a ride. Han declined and tried to explain that he couldn't take him as a customer. Only yellow medallion taxis were allowed to pick up street hails in the city, meaning that Han would have been breaking the rules by accepting the ride. The driver's window was rolled down at the time as he'd been airing the car out after a previous customer had reportedly been smoking marijuana inside. Without warning or provocation, the man who'd tried to hail him used his cell phone as a weapon and struck Han in the face. The device's edge severely damaged Han's right eye, causing him to suffer a detached retina. The driver was a sole provider for his wife and son, a 22-year-old student, both of whom were still in China. He was left unable to work. Han went to a hospital where staff reportedly told him that he should have the eye taken out, because there was no chance he'd regain his vision. A month after the attack, he still wore a bandage over his eye, which was still swollen. Han remained hopeful and told a media outlet, "If I became disabled, it would put my family in trouble." Dashcam footage from Han's car, which was released by the authorities, remained the main form of evidence towards identifying the masked suspect, but according to updates on the matter, no arrests had been made. Thanks for watching. Cell phone service or running water? Which would you rather live without for a month? Let us know in the comments section below.